Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you how to drive with one hand. In this video, I'll be going over the basics of driving and steering a car using one hand. Now, I'll be demonstrating it using my left hand, but you can also replicate this using your right hand instead. First and foremost, let's go over where your hand should be the majority of the time that you're driving with one hand. All right, so as you can see, here's the steering wheel. Now, what you want is you want to have a balanced approach on the wheel. It's going to allow you to become better at steering the car and driving the car, especially when you're driving with one hand, okay? So here's the wheel. We're going to imagine it as a clock. Up here in the top center will be the 12 o'clock position. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our hand up there in the 12 o'clock position, just like that. Get a good grip of the steering wheel, but you're not going to really be gripping it really firm like that. Get a nice firm grip, but a nice loose arm movement. So I can get a firm but flexible grip just like this. I'm able to steer properly. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to actually do a 3-point turn over here quickly to turn the car around, and that's going to allow me to actually show you the method for turning the wheel with one hand. Now I do have to say this, I do recommend steering with two hands and driving with two hands as often as possible, as much as possible, but it's important that you know how to drive with one hand as well, because if you're driving a manual car and you're shifting gears, or if you have to adjust something on your center console, then you need to know how to steer with one hand. So to be a versatile driver, you have to know how to drive with two hands and one hand. So let's get right into it. I'm going to actually put my signal on. We're going to try making a 3-point turn right about now. Once these cars pass, I'm just going to give them a second to pass. Now, as you can see, there's one more car approaching this way, so I'm going to give it a second to pass as well. What I'm doing is I'm pressing my hand, and it's hard to see this with the lighting, but I'm pressing my palm against the steering wheel, and I'm now going to turn my hand and allow my hand to rotate on the wheel. I apologize, there's one more car, and now we should be good to go. We're good to go. So check this out. I'm using what's called the palming method, okay? Which is pressing the palm of my hand up against the wheel, and that allows me to turn the wheel fast and effectively. So what I'm doing is exactly this. I'm pressing the palm of my hand against the wheel, and if you can imagine your hand just doing circles in the air like that, then that's exactly what I'm doing, but I'm pressing up against the steering wheel just like that. So I'm going to make a few more turns now, and I'll show you that my balanced approach is allowing me to keep the car nice and centered and in a nice straight line, just like this. Now you'll see that I'm going to grip the wheel, use the palming method, and I'm holding it here, and then I'm helping it turn back. Now, when you're driving with two hands and you make a turn, you can release the wheel most of the time and let it steer back by itself because you have both hands there ready to go. But when you're only driving with one hand, what I would recommend doing is I would recommend, as you turn, help the wheel go back, or if you release it to let it turn back, then follow it so that you can make sure that you're ready to grab the wheel and steer at any given moment. You don't want to just be releasing the wheel and letting it turn back like that when your other hand is shifting gears or whatever you're doing. All right, so as you can see right here, I'm just constantly turning the wheel using the palming method, helping it back, and gripping it at about the 12 o'clock position. Now, it's important to note that your posture, and check out this steering right here. So I just kind of hooked it around like that, okay? And it's not going like this. I'm not getting an under grip of the wheel, a reverse grip. That's not a good way to steer a car. I am hooking it from the top, so I'm able to just go like that, okay? Still getting an overhand grip on the steering wheel, but hooking it to the right or to the left to make these steering maneuvers. Now, like I said, your posture is important, okay? It's very important that you have the correct posture. What you want to do is you want to make sure that your body is nice and centered. Because if I'm leaning to the right, what's going to happen is because I'm only using one hand to steer, I'm actually going to be moving to the right. So let's say I lean to the right now. I'm actually going to the right. If I lean to the left, I'm going to the left. You want to have a nice straight up posture, a nice center posture like that. That's going to help you steer effectively, and the main goal of driving in a straight line is to stay centered in the lane while you drive. It's going to help you do exactly that. But that's basically it. In this video, I've shown you how to drive with one hand. It's a very simple process. I've shown you how to drive with one hand, shown you where to grip the steering wheel, how to turn the steering wheel by pressing your palm up against it and rotating just like that. And I've gone over everything that I could go over for driving with one hand. Once again, I recommend driving with two hands whenever possible, but you should also know how to drive with one hand as well. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment, and of course, be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.